We are live here to chat about tonight's episode of Suits, which was entitled Inevitable. And this was episode 13 of season 7. And oh my God, that was wild. Because it was so wild, I have not one, but two people here to chat about it with me. So, first of all, the face you know and love, Shana. Shana, say hi.
Hi.
Shana's like, know and love me? What?
Nobody.
I love you.
I love you.
Ooh, the mystery voice number 2. This is Lizzie.
Hi.
Lizzie is also here to chat with us, and she and Shana both know everything there is to know about Suits, and we all have a lot to talk about, and I'm sure you guys have a lot to talk about too. So if you are watching live and you have thoughts or questions or anything like that that you want to put in the chat down below, I will see it. I will read it out loud, unless you specifically put in the question for me to not read it out loud, and we will talk about it. So let's get started with a rating, because that's the only way we're going to get the rating out of here. Otherwise, we're just going to get lost in the discussion of everything. And Shana, you're the veteran of this. I'm going to let you start. Can you rate this episode on a scale from 1 to 5 for me?
I rate it 5 special Donna coffees and 5 can openers.
Ooh, I have 5 and 5. So it's a 5 out of 5, right?
Plus bonus, yes.
Plus bonus. That's like a 10 out of 5. Like you loved this episode. You were pretty excited about it. You've been excited to talk about this episode for a couple weeks.
You have no idea. Like, I have audios a couple of weeks ago that I think if they see the light of day, like Shana's whole persona online will be like, yeah. So I have blackmail material. Come talk to me.
Yes. Sounds like Lizzie has all the inside info on how Shana's reacted to this episode as well, which is exciting. Lizzie, I want you to rate this episode for me as well. What would you rate this on a scale of 1 to 5 as well? 1 being like terrible, awful, no good, very bad, or 5 being like best episode ever, I would change nothing.
I'm not going to give it a 5. I'm sorry, Shana. I'm not going to give it a 5 because I still don't have all that I want. Okay. So it gets a 4.8. Let's say.
A 4.8. Okay. That's respectable.
It's close, but you know what I'm going to give a 5 to. And when it happens, we'll both be screaming.
Yeah. I don't know what you would give a 5 to. What would you give a 5 to?
Darby. I don't even need sex, but real Darby.
Yeah. So not a hint at it, not a could be coming, not a there's no longer another boyfriend or girlfriend in the way, but you want the real thing.
I want the real thing. It's been 7 seasons. Help a girl out here. I lived through the X-Files. This is painful for me. It was twice over. The redheads are killing me. I need some love here.
I feel you. I'm with you. I feel like I've been through 7 wars, but it's just been 7 seasons. I think we need to get into some of the nitty-gritty of this episode because I'm somewhere in between you two. I think I might be a little bit closer to Lizzie's rating. It's not quite a 5 for me, but Shana, you might be able to convince me that it is. It is a dramatic episode, though, and a lot happened, and oh my goodness. So let's start with a favorite moment in this. I personally am just going to pick the line, at the end, when Harvey goes to Donna's door and she asks him if he's okay. And she's like, he says, are you coming back? And she's like, yes. And he's like, then I'm okay. Because that felt, obviously that's quite shippy and lovely and, we love it. But it also felt like some sort of resolution to that storyline because the whole kind of god-awful storyline with the therapist started with him not being okay with her leaving. So there's that poetic justice of it having to be him getting her back, right? And that's where his comfort lies, and he just needed that reassurance, and then they have somewhere to go from there. Did you love that moment? Was that your favorite moment? What was your favorite moment? Shana, I'm gonna let you start that again.
Okay, I really have to pick just one.
Yeah, you don't have to. I'll let you think about it while I read the chat really quick. So
no, what I'm gonna say.
Violet Purple says, finally, TV Movie Spark says, Stormy Woods says a 3.5. Ooh. TV Movie Spark says, I told you this was a turning point for Darby in this episode. I want the real thing, and I think we're going to get that. I think she's talking to you, Lizzie. Stormy says, other factors brought my rating down, but Donna was fabulous, as always. And TV Movie Sparks echoes this, saying, yes, Donna with that gunslinger line. So, Shana, back to you now. What do you think? Are you with me, the chat? What's your favorite moment?
Okay, so I'm gonna give you two because
Okay.
the if you want to talk about like the best played, like when Donna goes to that bitch's office, like why Sarah is not in the awards mix ever. Why she's not acting in every show on top of this ever. She's done a lot before, but it's usually always been opposite Gabriel, and the scene that they had together was really good too. But this was like pure and utter everything just ripping me inside every piece of me, like so good. Now, the best favorite thing to watch that didn't make me want to die was right at the very end after the Are You Okay? That look that Harvey gives Donna.
Yeah.
That look, that was like, if you go back to Intent and Harvey's about to leave her apartment and he gets ready to say, you know, I love you, Donna. That's the look. That is the Donna, you know, I love you look.
Yeah, it did seem familiar. It seemed like a look of understanding. Like these two both know what they're saying, but they're not saying everything out loud. Okay, I want to hear your second favorite moment, but before we get to your second favorite, I'm going to toss it to Lizzie. Lizzie, what was your favorite moment from tonight's episode?
I think the ending was my favorite, but like in a surprising twist, considering that I'm not usually someone who loves the angst. I really love the fight, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I felt like it was finally Donna saying things that I wanted her to say. It's like, lay it out, girl, finally. So I felt like that made me feel better, and it probably made her feel better, but like I felt like a load came off my, because I was like, yes, finally. So and even though that scene didn't end well, and I was rewatching, and it helped that I watched it before, so like I knew it was going to a good resolution, so it was easier to watch. And I already knew the first time I watched it because Shana spoiled it for me in her audios when she first saw it. So like when I first watched it, I already knew what was gonna happen. So like I could actually go into it. That's my favorite way of going into things. Knowing that there's a good moment at the end makes it easier for me. I'm not good with angst. So I was just happy that she was letting it all out. And then I could sit there and kind of look at the performance and agree with Shana that Sarah should be getting like, why are we here? Like, why? Like, that woman is the best. Like, I love Gabriel. Like, I love pretty much the whole cast, but she is, for me, the best.
Yeah, I think Sarah was particularly fantastic in tonight's episode, and I'm always a sucker for angst. So I love the angst scene, but for me tonight watching it was the first time watching it, and I think we mentioned this earlier, but Shana at least has definitely seen it a couple weeks ago. But I think for most of us watching live now, and certainly for me, we've just watched the episode for the first time, and I have hair sticking to my lipstick. Well, here we are, and in the angst scene, I was loving the performances, and I was loving the fact that it was angst. Like, I wish we had constant angst for all of season 7 rather than how extended the therapist storyline got. However, in my mind, and tell me if you saw this differently, the the storyline of Harvey eventually choosing Donna over Paula, to me, was paralleling the previous storylines that we've either seen or been told about or had references to, where Donna chose Harvey over her past boyfriends. Her other past boyfriends, we even saw that, I think, in a flashback quite recently. Her other past boyfriends have wanted this, that, or the other, and then she ends up continuing to work for Harvey and choosing Harvey over them. We see that in the first mock court trial, which is kind of an iconic moment for them. So we kind of know or expect that Harvey will choose Donna over Paula. I think I was surprised, and I love angst, I do. And let me know as well in the chat what you thought of this. I was just surprised that it took him that long. I was honestly expecting, and maybe I was just, I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting that he would just pretty much immediately, as soon as Paula gave him that ultimatum, step back from that. Is that not what you guys were expecting? Did you expect this to be a little bit more complex than that?
I'm going to answer because Shana's thinking about it. And yeah, I was expecting him to right away. Like, I think the whole storyline with Paula, and we're probably going to go into that when we go into what we didn't like. The whole storyline with Paula was, I mean, I don't think it was needed, but it was a way of taking him on a journey that could have probably taken like 10 episodes less.
Yeah.
And then, like, I think the whole point maybe was to make him think about the decision instead of just making it like before. It might have been instant. And maybe when it was that, he didn't realize that he was making the decision.
Ooh, that's a really good point.
I think the whole point of it was to make him realize what he would have to lose. So he would have to actively make the decision, because I think a lot of the times it's been the two of them choosing each other without really like looking at the possibility of not having each other. It's like, there, I didn't even think about it. And I think the whole point is that, making him think about it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And that definitely answered, I think the question that I had in my mind is whether, you know, why they would have had him even consider siding with Paula. And I know that in the literal sense, it was because he thought it was the right thing to do, even though it wasn't what he wanted to do. But I love your explanation that if he had just instinctually chose Donna, he wouldn't have thought through his decision, whereas him having to think through it really is going to make him think about why he chose Donna, which led to some of the moments that we saw in the promo coming up. Let me get back to Shana, and first let me read the chat really fast before we do that. Stormy says maybe Paula should see a therapist about her insecurity issues. And the fact that the therapist thought Donna should lose her job made me hate her. Yeah, that was not female solidarity that Miss Paula was showing. Michelle says it bothered me that Harvey was so easy to give Donna up. He was being so manipulated by Paula. Strongly agree. And I think a really underlooked part of this storyline is how manipulated Harvey was by Paula. And I hate pointing that out because I hate like dragging female characters, but in this case, you know, it was an abuse of power, it was an abuse of a therapist position, it was a very manipulative thing to do. And if tonight is the end of the Harvey and Paula storyline, then my biggest complaint across the whole thing, like unchangeable, is the fact that they didn't address how manipulated that he was. Leslie says Harvey ran after Donna so fast. The entire Suits cast are superb actors, especially the leads. Stormy says, yes, I was disappointed that he didn't stick up for Donna immediately. Like, come on, man, Donna has stood by you for years. Yeah, that was what I was disappointed about. TV Movie Spark says, I was expecting him without any doubt to say hell no to Paula, but he needed to process what was really happening. I think she's echoing what Lizzie said there. We all agree. Alternative Shades of Blue says, I was expecting him to at least be more conflicted. And Leslie says, come on, Paula was his girlfriend and Donna crossed the line, so he had to at least side with Paula at first for a bit. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I can see that. Like, he thought it was the right thing to do. Shana, let me toss it back to you, because I know you have strong feelings on this therapist storyline, and I want to hear those, but you also mentioned a second favorite moment. Maybe those two things overlap. So either give us your second favorite moment or tell us sort of what you're feeling now that the therapist storyline is over.
Okay, so I actually technically gave two things before, because there was the angsty Donna thing in the very end. But if I get a second favorite happy, like I knew immediately, and Lizzie can correct me if I'm wrong, I think there was a lot of screeching. The second Lily was like, oh, it's obvious that someone's you. I was like, woo! Because you knew right there something like, oh, here it is. Something's going to happen. Okay, so in terms of Harvey, though, I'm gonna have to disagree with a lot of people. I don't think he gave Donna up easily at all. I think it's one of those you have to look for what's implied and what's subtle and what's done well in the acting to get it, though, because there's this shot of Harvey sitting in the car getting ready to make the phone call for business, and he like can't deal with the personal right now because business, but you can see he's conflicted. And if you listen to his voice in particular in the fight scene with Donna, he just sounds like so completely defeated.
Yes.
And he's very quiet. Harvey Specter is not a quiet guy. Harvey Specter is a big, imposing alpha male, best closer in the city. Life is like this. I want it like this. Harvey doesn't use that soft of a voice.
Yes. Okay. Let me just interrupt for like 10 seconds. It's such a weird contrast because when he was fighting for Paula, he seemed so defeated and down and not like himself. But when we see him fighting for Donna, and I want to say it's like 5:15 or something like that, the episode right before the "You know I love you, Donna" moment, where he's like going around New York City basically threatening to kill people unless Donna's safe. He seems absolutely himself. He seems the most himself he's ever been. Okay, sorry to interrupt. Back to you.
So I really don't think it was easy for Harvey at all. And, you know, there's the joke with Korsh from Twitter with like, who's Harvey going to beat up for Donna this time?
Right.
He wasn't beating anybody up for Paula. Like, he couldn't even do it himself. He thought that, and I don't know why he thought this, because he's not this stupid. He's really not supposed to be. But, you know, he thought that he was just going to sneak one by Donna and give her another job and, you know, not have to deal with it. Like, that's not Harvey either. So in terms of like why we had to have this, though.
Yeah.
Well, why did we have to have this? But one thing I will say is, you know, in the past, Harvey's been the player. He's been, and he did have his mommy issues that he needed to fix before he was ready for a real relationship. So the only thing I can guess about why he took maybe a little bit longer, aside from like Lizzie murdering me with like the real logic, my guess was that we had to set him up where he was trying to do right by a relationship. You know, he tells me, you have no idea how much I wanted this to work or whatever. Not Donna, shit. Paula. You know what I mean? Like, so, and he had that whole scene with Mike, which was like a double dose of awesome, because it was kind of teaching you something about where Harvey thinks he is in life, about how he's right. But it was also Mike and Harvey flirting as they do.
Okay, let me stop you there.
They do. Like, it's not that, like, here's the thing. Like, I joke about the flirting. Like, this is really a show that if they had wanted to go there, they easily could have. They clearly haven't. It's clearly never happening.
Yeah, I do hear there's a large Marvy contingent somewhere.
I get them. It's just not real. But they do. They have some banter, and it's been, you know,
they're cute. It's the whole Batman and Robin thing. It's cute.
Yeah. I feel like it's been lost this season with the Paula stuff. So seeing that come back, like, that's a real treat. Whether you, like, whichever camp you fall in, like, that's been a hallmark of the show.
Yeah, because he's always the most himself when he's with his family, which is, you know, he's got mommy Jessica, wife Donna, son Mike, you know, that whole thing, right? Soon to be daughter-in-law Rachel. Just jumping in the chat, because some people had some stuff to say about, especially about what Shana was talking about as well. Stormy says, being his therapist, Paula knew ways to manipulate him. Kaka says, I was disappointed that Harvey went behind her back with Stu to find her a job. ... Ugly. I agree. Michelle agrees as well. She says the job thing really soured everything. Leslie says Donna ain't no fool. Kaka says, I love how Lily said he's a keeper, and his reply, or she's a keeper, and his reply was, I have to go. Me too. Stormy says, I wouldn't ship Harvey, but I could see how some could. And Leslie says, I love Mike and Harvey's bromance. I think Mike and Harvey have a great bromance, but I think for me, knowing that the intention of the show was to have about a 20-year age gap between Harvey and Mike and have it be like a father-son thing, I really don't get the romantic vibes from it. But I kind of do get, the one thing I will give is I think Mike has better chemistry with guys than he does with girls in general on this show. But that's just me. Whatever. Neither here nor there. We're here to talk about Harvey and Donna mostly, quite frankly. But let's take a quick tangent before we dive back into Harvey and Donna. And maybe this is going to go under the cons, I think, at least for Shana, based on what we heard last week. What did you think of the Lewis and Sheila thing from tonight? Lizzie, you reacted first, so you get to take it first.
Well, like I don't know how anyone could have liked it. Like, I don't know. Like, I've never been Lewis's biggest fan in general, but he's one of those characters that, like, at some point sort of like got to you, or you got used to him and you started sort of liking him almost despite yourself. And then this Sheila thing makes it like, I remember when I liked you, Lewis, because I don't anymore. Like, what are you doing? It's like, and then when I'm so, in an episode where I'm so into what's happening everywhere else, every time it was back to Lewis, I was like, oh my God, when is this gonna end?
It kind of makes you resent his storyline, which is unfortunate because I do get excited for Lewis to be on screen when he's given scenes with the rest of the crew. And frankly, I was disappointed on Lewis's behalf that in an episode that was so focused on Harvey and Donna having these realizations, he wasn't a part of some of those conversations. Because in previous Harvey and Donna realization scenes, we've seen a little sidebar between like Donna and Lewis where he's kind of pointing out something about her feelings being in denial, or you'll have that moment, like the moment after the mock trial that I brought up earlier with Lewis and Harvey in the bathroom where Lewis is screaming at Harvey for having even put him in that position where he had to attack Donna. That's the kind of thing I was kind of hoping we would get a taste of in this, and rather than that, Lewis had this side thing, which I want Lewis to have a story of his own. I just haven't loved the past two romances that they've had for him, and I kind of would like a good romance that they'd have for him, and maybe this just wasn't the episode where we're going to attach to Lewis's romance anyways. There was also, you know, we talked about this last week, how there just feels like something oddly, like questionably consensual about the relationship. Shana, you talked about that. What are your thoughts on that for this week?
So this week it seemed like, you know, they actually did talk things behind the scenes and come up with rules, which first of all, ew, that never works. Like, I mean, so here's the thing. If you're entering an actual consensual BDSM contract, that works for people. But what they're doing is like, he's not allowed to mention, like, the thing that stuck out for me, honestly, aside from the fact that I was already sour on it, like, yeah, it's that playfulness, like Rick Hoffman, like, and Rachel Harris, like they have that comedy vibe. They have great chemistry. They're great at acting bad acting, like for the role playing.
Right.
Just, you know, she won't even let him say that he loves the sex. Like, it's the boundaries and her rules are such that he can't have any input. Like, he can't.
He feels so diminished in this episode as well. I think that's what it is. I'm just echoing some things in the chat from what you were talking about. Michelle says Lewis's stuff was way too much, too silly. I think echoing sort of what you've said about there being a like comedic vibe about it. It feels different than the rest of the show. Stormy says, can we talk about Rachel? I know she's not on the show much longer. I'm just bummed out. Most of her time is left spent on wedding stuff. I want to see her be a badass lawyer. I agree. Let's touch on Mike and Rachel next. TV Movie Spark says, I'm torn about Lewis and Sheila. I want Lewis to be happy, but this is not making him happy. Leslie says, my boyfriend was like, what the hell when Lewis and Sheila started role playing? Sounds like you have something to explain to him, Leslie. Stormy says, I loathe Sheila for for me. Her treatment of Lewis is so cruel and gross. 50 Shades of Lewis is somewhere thrown in the chat. I won't name names. Leslie says Lewis's last girlfriend was also Oliver's rebound on Arrow. Hated them both on both shows. Yeah, I think we talked about that as well. That was a dark time for everybody, huh? Stormy says Lewis needs to get with a woman who doesn't use him. Sheila and whoever that woman was that played Carly both used him. Yeah, I think they've shown that sequence, right, of Lewis being used by girlfriends, which is, I think, why we kind of got on that tangent last week, talking about how he might be better with Katrina. But let's set that aside. Tonight's mostly about Harvey and Donna. But Rachel was mentioned in the chat. We should get to Rachel, and I guess Mike as well. I guess some of you might like Mike. What did you think of the Mike and Rachel content from tonight? And Shana, I'm going to let you take this one first because I know you care a lot.
Those were my babies that I fell in love with and I rooted for in season 1. The way they interacted, the way that Mike was like somehow simultaneously super sweet and super like mom about it. I love it when we fight. Like, what the fuck? But they, you know, I wrote this whole long thing in my recap about this, but they're like proof that you can root for a couple, get them together early on, and it does not ruin the series dynamic. You can still have interesting bumps along the way. You can still, I mean, in their case, they had like Mike went to jail was a very interesting bump for 5 minutes, not even. But like, you know, it's nice in this, happens so rarely. It's nice to see people working towards a happy ending. And like Korsh has already pretty much told us that's what we're getting for them. So it's really nice to know that, you know, problems happen. Like Mike with his whole, I don't want to be locked in. I'm like, yeah, we know you only went to jail for 5 minutes. But you know, we can see those kinds of bumps in the road. We can see it look like it's like really going to come to a head, and this wedding is not going to happen again. And no, couples come out of it. Some of them, not all. You know, so they were great in this. They really were, and the whole like
it was sweet. It didn't feel like too much of a distraction from the main parts of this episode that we cared about.
Because it is a main part. Like,
yeah,
if you really listen, like Father Walker's telling them, the couples that work are the ones that are honest with each other. I'm like, Donna, speak. You know, they work because they've been through it. They've been honest about their feelings. They've instead of backing off when there's a problem, they've gone through because it was worth it. Like, they're a workplace romance and it works. So hey, Donna, like, hello, Harvey.
Yeah. The kids are being the good examples for the parents. And it sounds like everybody in the chat kind of agrees with you too. TV Movie Spark says Mike and Rachel, going to miss them so much. Leslie Jones says, I love Mike and Rachel. I ship them. Kaka says, I wish they would slow the last scene a bit more. I felt like it was too fast. It was too huge. I'm not sure whether that's a reference to Harvey and Donna or Mike and Rachel, but I think I agree either way. I think the last scenes for both of them were quite big, which let me toss that to Lizzie and ask you specifically what you thought about Mike and Rachel considering their future, especially in the end, in that last scene.
Honestly, I don't think I ever loved them as much as Shana did, but they kind of grown on me in a way. I was here for Harvey. And then I was here for Donna, and then I was here for Harvey and Donna. And I was even here for Mike and Harvey, and I was never here for Rachel and Mike. And then I just suddenly found myself looking forward to their scenes, and I don't know when it happened, but it happened. And I think part of it had to do with phantom PTSD. I sometimes like to say, like, we seem to think that they're gonna ruin all couples, so sometimes we like make ourselves not care. Like you're like, no, I'm not gonna ship them because they're gonna ruin them. And then
or you just think that they're gonna ruin at least one of the couples, so you only pick one.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, I gotta pick my horse in this race, and it can only be one. There cannot be too much happiness. And then so I pick Harvey and Donna, and then I clearly picked wrong because that's where the pain is. But I really enjoy them in this episode, and I think I've really enjoyed them especially in the few episodes that I haven't really enjoyed Harvey and Donna or the Paula storyline, I have really enjoyed Mike and Rachel. Like even when he was in jail, I actually enjoyed what we got.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Mike in jail storyline, and not just because I love to occasionally drag Mike, but also because I thought that was a really good growing experience for both him and Rachel, and they didn't just go back to the way they were before right afterwards. I loved that he got to spend that time kind of learning about right and wrong, and she got to spend that time working so closely with Jessica, and I think we do see the results of that now when we see the way that they interact with each other, that they seem to have a better understanding of themselves. And the marital therapy thing, that, or the couples therapy or whatever thing that they were going to go through with the priest, I thought that was a cute way for them to talk about it. But I agree with whoever it was in the chat that was saying that they kind of wish for Rachel, for her last couple episodes, we'd get to see just a little bit more of her getting to be a lawyer, since we're about to never get to see that again. And not just have her planning the wedding. But, you know, given what we have, I thought it was nice. And I, for one, have a huge soft spot for Lewis and Rachel scenes. So the fact that we got an emotional Lewis and Rachel scene was, I thought, lovely. And we already know from the spoiler pictures that Lewis does end up taking Sheila to the wedding. Who knows how that will go down or what will happen, but that I think was a really nice moment. Stormy says, I think the writers failed the Rachel character. So much of what she has done has been about Mike. I wish she had gotten more stories about being a lawyer. They're happy and cool, but as a couple, I'm not really interested. Yeah, I think it can go either way. I think some people got really invested really early on, and so they're sort of still invested. And then some people, you know, kind of went up and down, and some people maybe have been invested the whole time. So I don't really know. I'm most invested in Rachel's character and her getting the storyline that I think she deserves. Leslie says they are the definition of a healthy couple. Can't wait for the wedding. I'm so excited. Just to even have a wedding on this show, I think, will be fantastic. Which conveniently leads us right back around to Harvey and Donna and what you guys would like to see for Harvey and Donna going forward. Normally, I would ask what you would like to see for anybody in this show going forward, but let's just restrict it to Harvey and Donna tonight. What would you like to see for them? What do you want them to go through now that we've got this Paula thing resolved? Who wants to start?
So Korsh already told us that they're going to slow dance and more.
Yes. I'm excited about
It's been
slow
7 seasons. We want more than slow dance.
That's what we want and more, right? So what I'm saying, like,
you can slow dance with your brother. Like, what are we talking about here?
Right. No, because we need next week for like Donna to act, like at some point Donna needs to actually admit that she's alive.
Not if you're like the Flash. Don't slow dance with your brother, but like, go on.
Like, she needs to admit that she lied and that it actually did affect her, and then they need to bang. Okay, I like to go back to number one Darby shipper, number one parent trapper, number one son Michael Ross. Mm-hmm. He said it. You know, he's got to make sure his best man, the maid of honor at the wedding. I think he said, you know, he was joking that they shouldn't. We all know that he wants them to. It's in the promo that he's like, yeah, because Donna's the one, you idiot, or whatever. Like, I need
good summary.
At the wedding or after the wedding. Sometimes,
Lizzie, do you think that they're going to at the wedding? What do you think?
No, I don't think they're going to. But maybe it's just because I'm not used to getting what I want. So, like, you
have the haunted look in your eyes of somebody who's watched the X-Files. It's like you can smell it on you.
Yes. I mean, like, it's still too close to the X-Files finale for me. Like, I never get what I want. I honestly think it would be a nice way to end it, especially since Mike and Rachel are leaving, and like that's the thing. Like, give Mike, like, that's his wedding present. Like, he'll probably get another one, but like he'll be really happy. Like, if he gets a text next morning and Harvey's like, "Yeah, Mike, I did it."
I did.
Mike on his wedding night getting live updates from Harvey, because that's the content he wants. Just jumping into the chat, Michelle says, she says, I want him to be open with Donna about how he's really feeling. Yeah, he was like semi-open, and he kind of just assumed she would understand, which I think she did. But I want to hear it, bro. There's enough of this unsaid stuff. Like, What do you actually feel? Talk. You said a bunch of stuff to Paula, which was not true. Surely you know how to talk now. Leslie would like to see a cute first date. That would be really cute. Stormy says, I'm always here for your flash shade. Leslie says, shade on the flash. Yeah, sorry about that. Just gotta throw that in there. Don't actually marry your brother, but like, let's see more than a slow dance for Harvey and Donna at the wedding. Michelle says, every season they look like they're about to happen. Then the first episode of the next season shows them separated again. I'm seeing some nods from Shana. Yeah, you are not wrong. Leslie said she would like to see wedding for Darby. Yeah, I think we all would, but Michelle is definitely right about the show liking to reset for upcoming seasons. And based on the promo pics that we're already seeing for next season, I don't know. But you guys saw the Katherine Heigl stuff? Yeah. Sorry. Let's just not talk about that yet.
I was gonna say, like, we probably need to do a separate show on all the things that are wrong with that.
Yeah. After this whole season is finished airing, once we're on hiatus again, maybe we'll do like a little hiatus thing where we talk about spoilers for the upcoming season. But for now, I think Lizzie, I know you have to go pretty soon, and we probably should end this pretty soon because I've already kept everybody pretty late. But let's just do a quick overview since I'm not sure if I introduced everybody. If they want to chat with you more about Suits and everything like that, where can they find you? And Lizzie, I'm going to let you start because I know you're the one on the time crunch.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter where I'll probably be talking timeless because that's apparently all I do lately. I'd apologize, but I don't care. I'm at Lizzie Dad, and I have a podcast where Shana was last week talking X-Files shit with me. And we talked shit. Yeah, we did. So, like, if you want shade, go look for last week's episode. It's called Stop and Fangirl. You can find us on Twitter at Stop and Fangirl 3.
And I will have all the links to their Twitter in the description down below. I think I already have Shana's info in there, and then I'm going to get Lizzie's info added within a few minutes of this getting posted on YouTube. Shana, we already have your info. So do you have anything that you want to promote, or do you have any final thoughts on Darby you want to send out to the universe?
Dear universe.
Ooh, I like this already.
Last week, I totally said I hope Paula died and forgot it, but nobody will let me live it down.
The amount of comments we got about that.
This week, I want the thing that stays with you guys is not that I still want Paula to die, and I think maybe you guys now see my motivation a little bit more.
Yeah.
Fucking awful.
But
what I just really want, all I want is for Darby to bang. That's it. Just bang already, please, dear God. Just like, or even a kiss that's not a sneak attack. Like, hook up, y'all. Go for it. Dude, Harvey, make your move, babe. Listen to your son, Mike, when he tells you that his real mom is Donna, and go with it. Go with your heart. Go with your heart.
Go with your heart and bang Donna. I just kind of picture, this is like, like when you're a little kid and you're like sitting, like kneeling beside your bed, like hands folded, and you're like, dear God, it's me, Cammie. Can Harvey and Donna please bang for the wedding? Like that. I'm so sorry if I offended anybody by that, but like, all right, let's jump in the chat for some final goodbyes and final thoughts and see what everybody's thinking. Stormy says, will Katherine Heigl get this show canceled too? Put a pin in that and we'll discuss it. Michelle says, no, just no to the new character. Leslie says, I hate Katherine. Stormy says, I need to watch Timeless. I'm so behind on shows. Well, now you know who to chat with about it. Chat with Miss Lizzie. Stormy also says, can Sheila die? Ooh, Leslie would like to see Darby babies. And Michelle says she wants a hookup, a kiss, or whatever without the regret after. Ooh, a good caveat. Alternate Shades of Blue says, I'll do that prayer every day if it makes it true. That's what y'all got to do. Y'all got to kneel beside your bed like you were told to when you were kids. Fold your hands, close your eyes, look up, or close your eyes or look up, whatever you're told to do. I don't know. And then pray and it'll happen. I hear that works. It always works in the movies, right? Thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you everybody in the chat for joining me. Go say thank you and hi to the lovely faces of Miss Lizzie and Miss Shana, and go chat with them about their other TV shows. Go chat with them about Suits. And until next week, goodbye.